Hello, sports card collectors and investors. I hope everyone is having a great day today. I'm excited to cover vintage basketball cards in the next couple of videos. I'm actually going to cover, in this video, 1970s basketball cards, vintage basketball cards, and then in my next video, I'm going to cover some examples of 1970s football cards. And then I'm looking at baseball possibly as well, and maybe moving into some other sports. But I thought this was kind of an interesting topic that you don't see a whole lot of information about there out on. And I want to cover kind of pricing and some of the things that are important, pop reports and so forth as we look at these. So excited to kind of dig into this. I was really surprised, honestly, at the the pricing for vintage. Now I understand this is, 70s is kind of fringe vintage. You're looking at more like 50s, 60s as true vintage, but there's a lot of 1970s options that are really, really affordable in basketball and in football as well, but we'll get to that in another video. But anyway, I'll go ahead and jump right into it. So the guys I'm going to be covering today are George Iceman Gervin, Moses Malone, Bernard King, and Darryl Dawkins. And I'm excited about all these guys. All these guys are very well known in the basketball community. These are the guys that really kind of, some of the guys that led up to, Magic and Larry kind of taking over the league, and then eventually, all the superstars from the 80s, from Jordan on to, Hakeem and Isaiah Thomas, et cetera, Barkley. So I will start with George Gervin, the Iceman. And again, I was just really shocked at how inexpensive a lot of these cards were. They're all graded. I'm covering all different graded cards. And it was just really, really surprising to me. So for George Gervin, Iceman, and part of the reason why they called him the Iceman is because this guy was such a cool customer. They said he would never sweat on the court. And so that was, and he was also just a prolific scorer throughout his career. So his rookie card is 1974 Topps. Total population, grand total for all of his cards for PSA, 875 total. So not many of them out there. In a PSA 7, you're looking at $120 to $138. And for a PSA 8, only $306. And this is all pricing from the last 2 weeks on eBay. So, I'm not going to cover, all the different grades that I do see. I'll try to cover as many as I can, but I'm just going to look at, certain price points for each player. And again, I was just shocked at, George Gervin being such a high profile player, Hall of Famer at those prices. It was somewhat shocking to me. Next up, another Hall of Fame guy, Moses Malone, his 1975 Topps card. Total population for this one a little bit higher at 1,410, but still, that's for all the grades, guys. All the grades, not PSA 10. That's all the grades. So, it's shocking just how much more scarce these guys are than what we see today. Now, granted, of course, there wasn't grading companies back in those days, so these are all cards that are being graded later on. So it's not really an apples to apples comparison, but it still does show you the true scarcity behind these cards. Moses Malone, he was for those that don't know, this guy was a 3-time NBA MVP and a 12-time All-Star. He's not one that's really talked about as much, but this dude was, he's got the accolades. I believe he won a championship with the Sixers. This guy really has a true Hall of Fame career. And if you look at his cards, again, it will shock you. PSA 4.5, $27. PSA 7, $90. PSA 9, $104.50. Wow. So again, it's like, I know a lot of people preach kind of the, buy Hall of Famers, buy players that have already done it, and you can kind of see, these players have already done it. Now, even though there is that scarcity there, the demand obviously isn't quite there, or these prices would be a lot higher, and that's what, kind of with vintage cards, it does offer kind of an anchor to your collection, to where these prices, they're not anywhere near as volatile as today's players, and so that's probably not as exciting as kind of that movement, that we see in current players in today's market. But if you're looking to just kind of anchor it down with some good long-term holds, these are some options that could be an option for you. Next up, I've got the first King, not LeBron, but Bernard King. This dude was a prolific scorer in the 80s, especially in the mid-80s. He was the man. His rookie card is 1978 Topps. Really an unstoppable scorer, this guy. Total pop on Bernard King, 670 total rookie cards that have been graded by PSA. His PSA 8 will set you back anywhere from $47 to $60. I'm not kidding. This is the truth. And Bernard King, for those that know basketball, for the going back beyond kind of these last couple generations, Bernard King is a fantastic basketball player. He was amazing. And just so to see these prices, I mean, there was a PSA 5 that sold in the last few weeks at $12.99. I mean, the grading was more expensive than that, most likely. I mean, it's just baffling. And I understand PSA 5, maybe it's more common to find it, Bernard King rookies in that grade, but still, yeah, I don't know. I like the value there at $12.99. Last up, I've got Darryl Dawkins, otherwise known as Chocolate Thunder. You saw him in the beginning of the video. I put one of his highlights where he broke the backboard. And, this dude was larger than life. Stevie Wonder was the one that nicknamed him Chocolate Thunder. He used to watch him go to games frequently, is what I read. His rookie card is the 1977 Topps rookie. And again, these things are just dirt cheap. I mean, compared to what we see with a lot of modern cards. PSA 7, 27 to 30 or 25 to 30 bucks. PSA 8, $48.11. And I'm sure some of you are thinking, why would I buy, a PSA 7 or an 8? All I ever buy are 9s or 10s with modern cards. But keep in mind, this is a 43-year-old card. This is not a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old card. It's a 43-year-old card. So PSA 7, PSA 8 is a good grade for a vintage card. So anyway, I thought that was just kind of funny. I mean, it was just shocking to me at how low the prices were. And they're just, because of the scarcity, because of the low pops, you don't necessarily see them for sale a lot. But this is something where I'm probably going to have some of these on my saved searches on eBay, just so when they pop up, I can be aware of them. Because my God, I mean, at $20, $25 for graded cards for Hall of Fame players, rookie cards too. I mean, it was just absolutely kind of mind blowing to me. What do you guys think? Have you guys been collecting these? Have you been investing in these guys? I didn't post. I'm sure the prices are quite a bit higher if you're going to like a PSA 10, which I'm sure the PSA 10s are extremely rare for these cards, even the 9s for a lot of these. So, but anyway, let me know when you're in the comments. Is this something you've already been doing? Were you aware of the pricing being so low on these? Are these players you're even interested in? I would really like to kind of hear your feedback and understand kind of your thought process. I know a lot of my viewership, they always kind of preach to me and in the comments. I've learned a lot from folks in the comments that do comment on vintage football and basketball, baseball cards. I want to learn more about it. The majority of my collection is in modern. I do have some vintage, as I've mentioned in other videos. I've got some really nice ones, but it's not something I'm heavy into, and so trying to learn and wanted to share this research with you. So hey guys, thank you very much for stopping by. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. We have daily videos coming out multiple times a day typically, and we want to keep that conversation going, and we're excited to have you. So thank you very much for visiting. Take care.